Moving on, shifting our focus here, the India-Oman Trade Pact, offering zero-duty access to a range of Indian labor-intensive exports, is kicking in today. The Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement, the CEPA, was signed in December last year during Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Muscat. Taking to X, Union Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal announced the commencement of the agreement, saying it will be a defining milestone in New Delhi's mission to create global pathways to prosperity for students, artisans, women, farmers, fishermen, and the MSMEs by opening new markets, boosting exports, attracting investments, and accelerating job creation. The India-Omani CEPA comes into force amid the ongoing US-Iran war, mind you, which has severely disrupted the movement of ships in the international waters crossing the Strait of Hormuz. But the importance of the deal lies in Oman's strategic location. Iran's chokehold on Hormuz has disrupted the flow of oil and gas to India from Saudi Arabia, Qatar, and the United Arab Emirates, leading to a surge in crude oil prices. But unlike most Gulf countries which rely on shipping through the Hormuz, much of Oman's coastline is located outside the Strait of Hormuz, directly on the Arabian Sea and the Gulf of Oman. Oman's strategic location allows major ports such as the Salalah and the Dukn to remain accessible even when traffic through the strait is disrupted. India's imports from major Gulf economies fell sharply from about $15 billion in April 2025 to $9.8 billion in April 2026. Whilst India's exports to the entire region collectively dropped from $4.4 billion to $2.7 billion. India's imports from Oman surged by 246.4%, rising from $430 million to nearly $1.5 billion, driven by higher purchases of crude oil and urea. Meanwhile, India's exports to Oman declined by only 10.3%, and under the CEPA, Muscat is offering zero-duty access on 98% of its tariff lines, covering 99.38% of India's exports to Oman, up from the pre-CEPA systems of zero-duty access for 15.3% of exports. Indian exports to Oman totaled about $3.64 billion in fiscal 2026, led by refined petroleum products such as petrol, naphtha, calcined, alumina, iron, steel products, machinery, let's not forget rice. Although more than 80% of Indian exports already entered Oman at relatively low average tariffs of around 5%, duties on certain products reached as high as 100%. Oman has a population of 55 lakh and a GDP of about $110 billion. In return, Oman's gains are concentrated in sectors where it is already a major supplier to India, including energy, fertilizers, and industrial raw materials. Under the agreement, India will eliminate or reduce tariffs on about 78% of its own tariff lines. India imported $7.2 billion worth of goods from Oman in the fiscal 2026, dominated by crude oil, that's about $1.6 billion, liquefied natural gas, that's about $1.2 billion, and fertilizers, that's about $843 million. Oman is also an important source, mind you, of industrial feedstock, supplying methanol worth $465 and ammonia worth $424 million.
There's an old saying, the sea does not ask where you come from. It simply carries you forward. India and Oman have been carried by the same sea, the Arabian Sea, for over 5,000 years now. Long before there were customs forms, tariff schedules, or trade negotiators even, there were Gujarati merchants in Muscat, Tamil fishermen on Omani shores, and Indian physicians tending to Omani families. Pankaj Khinji himself is a product of that export from India. Commerce was a way of life. Today, we formalize that way of life between Oman and India. The India-Oman Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement signed 6 months ago, is entering into force today. It is not simply a trade agreement. It is a statement of civilizational trust. On the day the CEPA was signed in Oman, the friendship was further strengthened and honored when His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq conferred upon Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi the Order of Oman, First Class, the Sultanate's highest civilian order. We received it as an honor to 140 crore Indians. Our deepest gratitude to His Majesty and the people of Oman, who for generations have welcomed Indians as their own family, just as we welcome Omanis into our home.